Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to ESL 1 Cologne here at the NVIDIA Expert Desk. I'm your host, Alex Machine Richardson, and it is time. It's the one you've been waiting for. It is Group D, D for death, whatever you want to call it, the stacked group where we do see the likes of SK, Fnatic, G2, all in fantastic form, and of course, FaZe, the curveball amongst this very, very scary group. And it has been called as such for a very long time by these people joining me, of course, Thor and Yanko and Moses. Gentlemen, we are going to be talking about Group D. We're going to go in depth as to why this is considered one of the scary groups, and we'll be doing that in just a moment. But first, we need to show you guys what these teams look like and how they got here as well. So let's take a quick look at what Group D looks like from behind the scenes.
With 3 major titles under their belt, Fnatic have cemented themselves as one of the top CSGO teams of all time. Fnatic took home first place at Intel Extreme Masters Katowice in March, and with the return of their star player Olofmeister, they're looking again a favorite here entering ESL 1 Cologne. SK Gaming, previously known as Luminosity, are the reigning major champions after a dominating performance at MLG Columbus earlier this year. Led by Fallen, the Brazilians exploded onto the scene last year and have emerged as one of the most tactical and skilled teams in Counter-Strike Go. FaZe has combined talent from all across Europe to create a European superstar team. They struggle to organize themselves, but after a great showing at the qualifier, the team is set to take their spot at this major. After an amazing run in the ESL Pro League finals in London, G2 Esports only just missed out on first, but took home second place from the tournament. However, the team struggled to make it through the Katowice qualifier, knocking out Cloud9 with a dominant performance from Shox to claim their spot at ESL 1 Cologne 2016.
With all of that said and done, it's a question of where do we start. I actually just posed that to the group and Yanko responded with at the beginning. Where is the beginning of this group? Do we start with Fnatic, 3-time world champions, and just trying to cover on their story and why they're coming into this?
I like that.
Yeah? Okay, let's do that. In fact, Jason, we'll start with you. These guys, you'd think, they've won the major 3 times. They have, what's wrong? Have I upset someone?
No, continue.
Talk about Fnatic, there you go. Go.
Oh, I mean, this is just obviously one of the most dominant teams we've seen in CSGO history. And they've, the big question marks around them, obviously, is the return of Olofmeister, which is going to be massive for them to see exactly where he's at, where he can bring this team. But this is the scary part for Fnatic for me is we've seen in tournaments at times this year very slow starters. So there have been teams who struggled through some group stages, and then they pick it up, at the end of the group stage to make it through, and then starting into bracket play, that's when they really hit their stride. But they can't afford to do that here. Now they're going up against SK, who's the best team in the world right now. They have a team in FaZe who's very, very dangerous in a BO1 format. They have a team in G2 that's been, maybe one of the best teams we've seen in the past 2 months. So, I mean, there's a lot of issues here with Fnatic. They just cannot afford to start slow.
And, I mean, you mentioned their opponents. Let's go there next. World champions SK, of course, ex-Luminosity.
SK is playing against G2, but, okay, SK's in the group. Yeah. SK, obviously, the reigning major champions. Not only that, in the time between the last major, they've been the best team overall. Even when they didn't win. Okay, the DreamHack Malmo one, that was a slip-up, but they came right back. They won DreamHack Austin. They won ESL Pro League Season 3. Even when they lost ECS, they were still in the final. They were still one of the best teams. So at the moment, they're the clear-cut #1 in the world. And it's one of the rare occasions you'll ever see where the #1 team, or a team like Fnatic, could be in a group where everyone could potentially beat them.
And then, perhaps I would describe them as the curveball. G2, as of late. I mean, it was the Pro League Finals and ECS. Is that where this hype has begun, Yanko?
Definitely. I think it started at Pro League, where they showed incredible resilience, mental fortitude, beating teams, taking maps off of a team like SK, and while being down. So they had to come back in those games to win those maps. And I think everyone knows by this point that it's been mostly because of the incredible performances from Shox and Scream that have been leading the way for the team. But all 5 of the players have been doing their part, so to speak. It's just that, they are the star players of the team.
Absolutely, they are. And just to quickly touch on the final presence as well, bring up the brackets just to put it into perspective, but it is FaZe. Now, at the qualifiers, yes, they did have an easy run, as it said within the video, but is it not the same discussion we sometimes have with Flipside, where we're like, okay, they can get to the major, and if you forget about Cluj-Napoca, what can we sing and shout about, Duncan?
Well, I mean, they won them up off Fnatic recently when they were at E-League. They beat them on Mirage there. they're a team where obviously you look at the names in there, they've got some very skilled players. Esse, Jacob, Rain, these have been some of Europe's best players. So it's true, I feel like as a team, they're not always there as a unit, and they've definitely had to find their identity, which they feel like they're starting to do, but just the firepower alone make them the ideal kind of wild card to put in with the other favorites here, because best of one format, they certainly can win a map off these teams.
Yeah, and we'll be talking more about them in the second game of the group. But first, let's just start turning our attention. We want as much time as we possibly can to talk about our first opening game of Group D. We get an opportunity to see SK versus G2. So you've described them as undisputed world champions.
Yeah.
Is everyone in agreement here on the desk? Yeah. Okay.
No.
Okay, so let's talk about it. This is what I'm thinking.
Obviously.
No, I think their main title is like interim world champions, right? In a sense that they never beat the Fnatic lineup with Olofmeister in their tenure, right? They had the luxury of playing in a time where Fnatic was without Olofmeister, so I want to see them play against Fnatic and beat Fnatic and then give them the title of the undisputed best team in the world.
Okay, so they have to get through Fnatic before you're willing to attach that title to them. You can run with this, Duncan. Feel free to respond.
I mean, the problem is, the reason they didn't have to play Fnatic with Olofmeister is Fnatic with Olofmeister couldn't beat G2 and meet them in the ECS finals. So all Luminosity, now SK do, is go to finals, win the finals, or play very well there. Fnatic obviously didn't have Olofmeister for a long time. He's back, but you can't take anything for granted. You can't just assume that we teleport back 3 months in time and Fnatic's #1. I think it's actually the other way around. I think Fnatic has to earn their stripes in BK. We're the #1 by beating SK. Right now, SK is on the throne, and Fnatic are the ones who have to come for them. I think of it the other way around.
Okay, and I do feel like it's worth starting the veto now, right? Like we want to try and make sure we have time to discuss this map. Is it safe to assume that map is going to be a heavy influence on how this plays out?
Yes, but here's what's very interesting about this matchup, is that obviously G2's been having a lot of success against SK. So SK, in my opinion, have the best map pool against every other team in the world.
Okay.
But there's been these weird outliers, like, for example, Overpass. I think SK is the best team in the world on Overpass. Twice the guys from G2 have beaten them. So we start out here. Cash is the permaban of SK ever since Malmo finished. Mirage ban here is because it's not a map that G2 play, and it's a superlative map for the guys from SK. They're very strong on that one. It's actually the map that made their name. So we're expecting in the next ones that come out here, okay, actually SK is going to ban Overpass. They're going to say, right, we're going to respect the fact you beat us the last 2 times. We'll take it to another map. G2 banning out Train here. G2 like Train, certainly, but again, that's another one of those maps where you do not want to go against the guys from SK because they are phenomenal on Train. They're one of the best in the world, absolutely. Looks like as we're going down the map pool here, we're heading towards, I think, possibly something like a Cobblestone, because I'm figuring maybe it's a nuke ban coming in here. SK have played Nuke. They played it against, I think it was Renegades, or was it Team Liquid? It might have been Liquid at E-League. So it is Nuke ban.
Go for Liquid.
So we're now going to get either the, let me see, Cobblestone or Dust 2. Now, interestingly there, if it comes Cobblestone, I think that's still pretty solid for the guys from SK. If it comes Dust 2, that's been a fantastic map for the guys from G2. In fact, they've been picking that in series recently. So you have to feel like this randomizer can have a big effect on who's going to win here. Because on Cobblestone, I still think you do have to look towards the SK guys. And I think that's certainly helped them out there. But obviously, at least G2 get to pick the side.
And they have opted for the T side then. You know it's Cobblestone coming through into this one. Yanko, does that affect your judgment at all?
I think this is the weakest map for both teams out of the maps they have in their pool, right? I feel that they would both want to play some other map. G2 would have definitely been more happy with Dust 2. But the thing with these teams is, even at Pro League, if you go all the way there, teams have traded maps. I mean, Luminosity picked a map, G2 wins their pick, and it went back and forth in that sense. So with these teams, that doesn't have to mean necessarily so. I'm interested to see. Lately, it has seemed that G2 has SK's number when it comes to just simply playing them. So whether they will be able to keep up with that momentum.
Yeah, we've asked so many questions coming into this major, and now we actually finally get some answers. It is time for predictions, though, Jason. You can justify your answer with, you have some time.
Yeah, well, I just think for me, it's not so much about the maps that are going to be played. That's a big portion, obviously, but it's all about Scream and Shocks. I'm really intrigued to see how this team could stack up with SK if those players aren't going off, because G2's had the luxury of having these guys peaking at the moment and having a really good form of Counter-Strike. So if they struggle, I think it's going to be interesting. I am going to take SK, though. That's unreal.
You see that?
Yeah, unbelievable stuff. I mean, obviously, when you see players playing this form, this is why people still have to say G2 can win this. Did you actually say you're going to take SK?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, Yanko.
I'm going to go with G2 because I just feel that in a best of one, in this type of atmosphere, that is where they can do the most, right? If they were to play against them in a best of 3, I would give the edge to SK, but in a best of 1 and on Cobble, I give it to G2.
Okay, so one apiece, you're going to be the determining factor.
I'm actually going to go for SK, and the reason why is if it had come Dust 2, the way that Vita went, actually I probably would have gone for G2. I think G2, that's one of the few maps that they have an edge over the guys from formerly Luminosity, now SK. But I'm going to say on Cobble, I still think this is a map that's joining the God tier status for the SK guys. So I think they're going to get this map, and they kind of dodged a bullet by it not being Dust 2.
Yeah, this is going to be awesome. So we have a split desk. There is at least one man believing in either side, and now it is time to begin.
Just like last time.
It is the start of Group D, and it is going to be SK versus G2. This is crazy. We get to see if G2 can follow the hype of ECS fresh out of Wembley, or if SK can take a big step towards retaining that major champion title. Your casters for this one are the CS Cuties. It's Henry G and Sadakis to take you through it.
Thank you so much. Yes, the D in Group D certainly stands for death. Number 1, 2, 3 in the world, all in this group, and FaZe best of 1 potential to upset any of them. All 3 teams coming into this have had success. Obviously, Fnatic kind of getting their feet going again with Olaf. Didn't quite have so much to speak for in terms of results at ECS finals last week, but they've had a lot of time to boot camp. Both other teams have done the same.
And we kick things off as well with, I'd say this is the hot match of the day. I think it goes without saying, well, the number 1 and 2 team in the world, that's kind of nuts, Matt. Obviously, that's the way the seedings have worked it all out, but it's really exciting. I think, obviously, for the tournament as a whole, it's just a shame we're going to lose one of these top 3 teams, but at the same time, we get to kick day 1 off in a really exciting fashion. This could be your grand final potential right here. This first game of Group D could potentially be a grand final if it was a different storyline, but still, it's very interesting. It looks like it will be Cobble, and it will be SK Gaming starting on the CT side. The newly formed SK Gaming, I guess, who's been the first event we've really seen them under that flag.
I do like the new jerseys. They look great.
I saw that earlier. You were commenting.
They are.
You are a bit of a fashionista, so.
Yes. Metrosexual, some would say. It is. I think they look great. I think it's been a lot of controversy over this switch, but now they're here, and this will be the first chance they get to represent them, and it's going to be a tough task. G2, starting out on the T side. Cobblestone as well. It's decent for both sides. I think it's, again, I do agree with the desk. Better than the opportunity to go on Dust 2 for SK, especially against G2.
Absolutely. Well, we're getting into this one now. It's going to be G2 actually going for that long A control. The bomb's actually waiting towards middle, though, so they're just going to be clearing out towards danger here. But there's Fur. He's waiting for them. He gets a double headshot as well. Lovely stuff to open the things up, and he's not done just quite yet as he makes his way back towards the connector, but RPK will take him down.
Yeah, an awkward exchange as he has to get the reload done. It's now FNX inside of the CT side of middle, so didn't push through with Fur. He's going to try and wait this out right now, still get the information, but the bomb in the hands of RPK has joining Shox over at B. And Coldzera, with time gone by, is going to make his way into that stairwell, that new position on this map. First time we'll see it in a major. We've seen it a few times over the last few weeks, though, and timings don't change, but it can pay dividends later on, especially in post plants for the T side. But right now, again, 57 seconds, fast exchange early on. They'll slow this down on the G2 side.
Yeah, that was G2 trying to get some long A control there. What was different, though, they actually made so much noise. You could see Fur heard everything from that danger position at that point. A lot of teams will stack towards B, and Fur hearing all those footsteps coming towards that. It's kind of a strange approach from G2, I have to say, to go that fast in that sort of attempt, but it's going to be the 40-second mark here. Objective of this one, just try and plant the bomb. They have been spotted there, and the smoke comes in towards connector, so the CTs are going to be aware this is probably their final move as they make their advancement to the bomb site.
Flash over, catches RPK, but no one able to peek on top of it. Instead, it's Fallen to take down Shox. It's just RPK that remains, and it's SK that will pull the first blood.
You can hear how much it means to them behind us, Matt. Obviously, this is a huge game in the context of the tournament, and G2, like I said, a little bit of a misplay from them. No one really checking and making a ton of noise. Fur cleans up, he gets the first 2 frags. He does go down, but at that point, they gathered so much information and affected the numbers so heavily. We'll see whether G2 will be forced buying into this one. I assume they will be, considering they didn't get the bomb down. It's quite standard to get the Tech 9s, Desert Eagles, body armor. That's exactly what they've gone for here. Shox, he's only got the P250, but he has got a smoke as well. So, like I said, objective here, first and foremost, get the bomb down. Still a possibility to win these rounds when you have the firepower, like Scream and Shox behind those weapons.
And Fur's going to get overwhelmed here. Again, Danger has the position to get all of the information. Exactly that, though. He's alone, and no one pursuing. They try and wrap around behind him from long, but he's gotten away from this, and a nade out. That's going to do good damage. Body goes down. Scream's weakened by it. He'll pull back with the Deagle, but it's allowed FNX to rotate all the way over from B. Taco beats the smoke, but no one gathered from that from Osh just yet. He's staying in no man's land. Needs to be careful not to get double peeked because Scream is able to take him down after he finds Smiths. Brings it to a 3 versus 2 and a gun picked up on Shox. It's not necessarily done just yet for SK. They still have a task here as Scream, recovering said bomb, is just going to wait for Shox to try and probe the site, catch anyone off guard. And he's got information that FNX is still on the platform as well as he re-peeks off camera. That'll allow Shox to try and wrap around and find him directly.
Yeah, Shox has got himself in a really advantageous position there, and he does spot Fur. I'm not sure, FNX, sorry, I'm not sure if he actually spotted him in return. Makes his way to the bomb site now, making a ton of noise, but gets the headshot onto him. And it's going to be the 2-on-2 now. Shox going down to 4 HP.
Chance for that bomb plant, like you said, if they can get it across, but it needs to go across stables. Thankfully, it's shotgun from Fallen at that range that's not going to be able to do anything to prevent it. Quick tap on the bomb to bait it out, but he had his opportunity to plant on that, and he missed it. So now Shox, 1 versus 2, 4 HP, has to go for the bomb just to try and accomplish that goal. 23 seconds, he'll stick this plant, but they are coming out from balcony. Won't be able to peek him directly. Remember, it's the player name that showed for Guardian at the last major in that position that gave away the position of the player trying to do exactly that. Plant Shox, he won't have such fortunes against him, but does get taken down by Cold. But as you say, the goal for G2, I mean, they knocked 3 guns down, and they get a bomb plant out of this.
You could see Scream's mentality behind that. They went all in and trying to win that round. At that point, they didn't want to get the bomb down. They wanted to see whether they could bait a CT in. And it did work to some extent. The fake plant comes in, and one player runs around. Unfortunately, a lot like with Desert Eagle, it's a 50-50 weapon in some circumstances, and the UMP took him down. Shox did very well with 4 HP to actually get a plant out of that. So they still recover the money situation. There will be a full eco this round, maybe some PT50s. Once again, a couple of smokes, try and get the bomb planted once more. But this should be a pretty clean-cut affair for SK Gaming in number 3. We'll see the buys coming now. They've actually got some body armor as well, so I guess they are justifying that extra money they got from the bomb plant there. So PT50s, a deagle, body armor, a couple of smokes and flashbangs. And we'll see what they bring to the next round. You can see this could be a little bit problematic. Fallen still on the max 7, but obviously still one of the most viable maps to that weapon is Cobble. So many different positions and an aggressive play from Fer once again towards that long area. Takes down Shox and a grenade just to slow down and stun the terrorists coming around the corner as well.
Did good damage onto Smith before he even came around, so M4 was easily able to pick up the rest, but he does get overwhelmed again. Fer, 2 kills down. FNX, that seems to be his trait, by the way, for Fer. He's gotten 2 kills and gone down immediately after in each of these rounds, but he gets good information, he does good damage, and FNX again going to be the one to rotate over and play in close proximity to the long A position, as Taco already pushed into the B tunnels, has completely limited the options for G2.
It's nice play from the Brazilians at the start of the round there. They go aggressive, they know they've got the rifle advantage there. There's not going to be that kind of firepower available. With the terrorist, go for that nice first pick, gets a ton of information. They do drop Fer in the process, but he's already taken down 2 players. Scream recovering the M4, but in his position right now, there's not really much he can do with it. He does have the option to save that weapon, but that means he doesn't get money into the next round. So just trying to work out what the next option is at this point. Body has got the bomb, but he's gone down to 28 HP, but SK Gaming playing this perfectly. There's no need to force themselves into this issue. Made the T's make the next move.
And they'll slow it considerably, considering Scream does have this M4.
Good position from Taco.
Yeah, he's rotated again. He's worked the map actually quite well. Again, it was him that pushed up at the start of this round to get the information from the B tunnels. He's going to wait and look it out, but Scream, considering the possibility, nice shot still with that UMP, the headshot precise. He'll follow it up, and he'll go immediately on the hunt for that M4. They'll carry that into the next round. And he gets an upgrade for it. 4 stay alive. They start to build the bank up slightly. Remember, they did lose 3 in the second round, so that could have cost them early on. And it's Cold that's grabbed the AWP. Seems to be the one to want to hold it as well. He's not going to drop that over to Fallen.
We saw that actually a lot of DCS, believe it or not. Like Goldzera, especially on when they just got the single orb set up, he's more than happy to wield that weapon. Fallen with that max 7 towards that broken wall area, drop down. There's many different options, so that's absolutely fine. We'll see where Goldzera decides to go. He normally goes towards the B site. And normally towards Chicken Coop as well. That can be a lot of position people struggle with, but he seems to be landing shots and being able to negate the terrorists left, right, and center most of the time. Let's see what G2 brings to the party here. 5 AKs. Scream limited of his utility. Actually got nothing left after the initial process, and Smoke's coming in towards the upper platform now.
Slow push from Body into the smoke. They've double smoked that, so we can actually get quite a, in fact, triple smoked. As the CTs drop in a flash, he can push all the way out to the archway. Won't be able to clear the stairwell from there. Remember, use of Molotov, very important, but Body just goes into the site, and despite getting one, he's taken immediately back by Fallen. Meanwhile, though, with all this smoke and all this activity, the bomb's in the hands of Smiths right now, and it's already approaching onto the A site with Scream and RPK. And Fer, he's fallen in toward the stables, but it's such a vulnerable position to play from. It's so easy to wall him down in this angle. Walks back out, Smiths finds him, late rotation, but does Taco do the trick? Does. Manages to pick up Scream and Shox into Cold Zero for the trade. Follow up again for G2 means they've got the man advantage. They've got the bomb site, and Taco needs to try and fall back into this. Can't do it. Fallen now with a shotgun, long range. RPK finds 2.
That's just showing you one of the key strengths of G2 at the moment. Their mid-round calls, it's not so much the set pieces at the start to working great tactics. They know how to read the game very well. They took away a lot of vision with those smokes towards that upper platform on the start, had a lot of attention towards that side of the map, left Shox there in a decent position as well. His teammates had already got towards middle, like he said, Fer, stuck behind the stables area, couldn't really do much about it, and that's what made G2 such a powerful unit. They have the strong, skilled players as well as Shox, a very experienced player at the helm. So good round from G2 and has actually broken the economy of SK Gaming here. It's not too bad. They will be able to buy up next round, but actually might not be the best buy. They might have to get a double league here, depending on a couple of those players. But still, it's going to be Desert Eagles as we go into round number 5. 3-1. G2 find the first gun round.
Smith's going to lead the charge. AWP quick to the corner. Fallen not peeking this, but it's a trap. Smart Molotov. Forces Fallen to peek, and they flush out Fur. Brilliantly done. Good crossfire set. A Scream followed up as soon as the AWP shot.
I'd prefer to see this sort of play on their pistol round. Remember, they just went for the very fast long A take. There's so many more methodical ways you can take that area and just be a lot more clean cut and not give frags away like they did. But this time has been very successful. Scream goes down to 5 HP, but Shox once again lurking in that connector area. This is perfect for them. His teammates don't need to strike until he gets information. But what a shot from Goldzera. That gives him a chance in this round, considering Scream has 5 HP. Not much of one, but it's something to work with now.
Shuts that down in a hurry. You're dead right. It is something to work with. Taco's still not rotated off this B site because they haven't pushed forward into A. He can't afford to do so early, but Smith's taking down FNX. That just leaves Cold on the A site. Body getting closer to his position. Cold does peek. That gives it away. Refaces. Nice shot again from Cold to drop body, but Smiths is there to follow it up with the AWP. And as mentioned, Taco, well, never left the B site. Never had the information to do so. So at this point, just trying to do late economic damage to try and take down some guns and pull them back toward the SK side because they haven't been able to reset G2. Remember, the 3-1 scoreline, we talked about that. If you can make it 4-1 after the first gun, it would put them right back onto the pistols on the G2 side.
Yeah, at this point, Taco just trying to pick up a weapon. Coming through middle. He's actually going to be towards the top by the rocks here, hoping that someone gets a little bit undisciplined and potentially comes and faces him, but he will be going towards long A now, edging his way in. But at this point, G2 just need to stick together. They know they've got low HP players. The objective here, save the AWP, make sure that doesn't go down. That'll be a huge detriment to them going forward. Smith's finding 3 kills, so like I said, nice play towards long A, sticking together. You saw how methodical that was. Flashbang goes over, Smith goes to the first pick, Scream's ready for any sort of refrag potential to come around the corner. Very nice stuff. Body and Shox do go down, but Shox, you can't really take anything away from that. That's just an amazing shot from Goldzera. RPK, I guess one of the best performances I've seen from an ECS, you remember. Like, everyone talks about Shox and Scream right now, but I think RPK, he really is in great form right now. He's been key to their success, to be fair. I think he's been up there with the score charts and making sure he plays great fundamental CS. Has been very good to watch.
Oh, that's the part of it. It's fundamental. It's not flashy, hence why he doesn't necessarily get all the attention. But he's the rock right now in this team, in my opinion. He's the one that's consistent. They do need Shox and Scream to be explosive and to step up. Yes, there's no doubting that. But they also need that piece of the puzzle that's just consistent and an anchor, and he's been that in so many cases.
A wise old head. When things start going wrong, he knows what he has to do to get one frag in return or and to revenge his teammates. But we're going to round number 6 here. It's going to be an AWP on either team, and Taco's struggling slightly. Like I said, I thought one player would be. He'll be down to the UMP, not necessarily a huge disadvantage. That can be like a mini rifle in many ways. It's becoming entering into the meta more and more these days. But nothing too significant coming out from G2 at the start of the round. They'll just be holding up in the default. The bomb is towards middle, and it's actually fallen with the AWP this time. So Goldzera handed the roll over to him, and he'll be towards long A, and that's been a heavy area of contention for G2. So that's a pretty good call, I think. He can get the first frag, fall back to the bomb site, but Smiths lying and waiting, seeing if there would be any aggression now.
Scream checks off the bills again, this time not with use of Molotovs, so had to go for the peak, but they do flash Fallen all the way back in the A site. A lot of early aggression on this A side of the map so far from G2. And this actually still, even if they don't elect to go this way every single time, just because of the pressure they put on it early, it's going to make the defense have to play in more passive positions inside these A sites. They can't go for the 4-1 stack. They have to leave Fallen closer to Fur in this case. And as soon as they do, as soon as that smoke comes out, FNX, Coldzera, they start to lead off. Guess what? Bomb boat goes back to B. So they're playing the map very well so far on this T side.
Well, they've bled out the CTs pretty well nicely as well. You can see there's only flashbangs remaining for them. No smokes or incendiaries. It's come down to Taco. Probably a decent position for him. Luckily, RPK has got a Molotov, in fact. So that could be a danger, but time is running out. Body's going to be the first player to come in. Flashes do. And we'll see whether this works out as Taco does the pop flash to the right and goes for the initial damage here. Takes down Scream, taking Swift down to low HP as well.
Decent damage. 2 have gotten inside of the site, down the alleyway. Still can't find Taco, low HP, but Smith hits it with the deagle. And now Shox inside the window at drop, just needs to cut off the rotations. Not going to stick around so as to lose the battle and bring this back to a 3-on-3 because bombs down, sites in control, and already SK. They don't even fancy their chances. No kits, AWP in play. They want to hold it for the next round.
That key was so crucial. That kill was so crucial, sorry. The fact that Smith's come down the corner, Desert Eagle, 24 HP. UMP, one bullet would have taken him down, and he manages to land it, and caused the surrender for SK Gaming. They got to fall back here. They do keep 3 weapons alive here, so it will be 3-3. I think this is the right call at this point. B bomb site is very difficult to retake, especially if you don't have the smoke grenade or incendiary to flush into the terrorist out. They just need to hold the crossfires towards Chicken Coop, towards upper platform, and they'll be absolutely fine in our respective. 4 players do survive for the French side. FNX, Fallen will be saving that AWP as well, sticking together towards long A. Strong arms area. It's very unlikely the terrorists can come and do anything about that, so the AWP will stay alive at this point. But a successful round for G2, like you said, getting that default at the start of the round, hunting out information, seeing if there's any aggression going on there. They get some control towards long A, fall back towards B, and there's just nothing left for the CTs to actually hold on with. Round number 7. We'll see the rebuy coming for SK here. Once again, the UMP and the FAMAS, though, still struggling slightly, but the utility's stronger. They have got incendiaries, they've got smokes across the board this time. Fallen, I felt like he needs to step up, though. He needs to go for that, maybe that first aggressive pick and get some information. We see a lot of teams, obviously, that new steps area on Cbble. That means you do have a lot more opportunity to go for those initial picks. We say that the Molotov can lock it out, but it's still timing's everything, right? You can go for that first pick and at least get some information. This time, he will be towards danger.
And typically speaking, even if the Molotov does go out, there is time to retreat.
Of course.
Unless it's a very, very fast peek to follow up. The nook in beside the bottom of the stairwell over toward that big wooden door, the closed wooden door, is very easy to hide beside as well. So 3-3, guns back out based on the save for SK, but still a very fragile economy on their side, and not a lot of kills really stacking up in their favor means there's almost a buy in hand already on this terrorist side. So it's becoming a desperate half so far early on for SK just to try and maintain their advantage, if you want to call it that, in this particular game so far.
Yeah, this is a big round for them. They obviously will be on an eco after this. I mean, $2,900 coming into their account after a full buy, but this time it will be G2 once again working the long area, and they've got middle as well. They've used that smoke towards the door to actually take the vision away from the CTs. Further, been very strong in that position. Needs to be up against RPK. They still have plenty of smokes and flashes here. May not be necessarily committing. There's the first flash and third, like I said, being very good. Only gets one this time. RPK comes with the refrag. There's good fundamentals working out once again.
Fallen long range, trying to find the angle. He's playing it from the barrels, and he will get RPK jumping. Now they know he's there, though, so he has to play the fight. He can't just sit, wait, and let the angle present itself. But when they put the attention toward him, it's FNX that steps up, and Cold on the rotation will close them out. 4 stay alive. They upgrade to some AKs, and a double op setup now in the hands of SK.
Yeah, so down the fur, he slowed them down just enough. He may have only got 1 kill there, but it was he got tons of information. He's so close to the doors down at the bottom there that the CTs can rotate in, and Fallen holding strong towards the back of the bomb site there, landing every shot he could. And it's going to be 4-3. Like we said, a big round for SK Gaming. They would have been broken if they weren't to win that one. It's going to be a double AWP setup for them as well. Fallen and Cold Zera. This is probably one of the deadliest double AWP combos we have in the game right now. Both insane with this weapon. And we'll see whether G2 can bounce back after losing round number 7. It's going to be Smith back on the AWP. Scream struggling a little bit more. He's got the Galil in hand, but we'll see what the objective is this time. Not focusing so much towards the A side. It is a default for now. And you can see a 4-man setup from SK Gaming. They're predicting a B side attack this time.
Shocks and body, the close ones to the smokes. Haven't seen as much drop room aggression so far in this game. Every time we've seen it, there's already been activity going on at long as his body right now. It's been late pushes to come in. It hasn't been the point of contest so far from this G2 side, but again, this time with an entrance on B, it's a fake for G2. They take the bomb back over toward the A side. Good read this time though from Fallen. It's pulled Fur into the balcony position. Smith's on low HP. But Shocks is still lurking, can be a problem. Watch Fallen, gets to barrels, but he's spotted. That is a huge problem because Fur going down. He's a sitting duck inside of the site. Does find the first shot, good reaction. Second, a missed shot from Smith, and now he's got a chance, but RPK hits the headshot desperately on top of the platform because that goes down, and the round starts to fall apart.
Very clever from Golzera there. He knew Shocks was coming. This is the exact same tactic they ran on the first go around here. They brought it down to a 2-on-2. FNX waiting for his teammate to get in position. Flashback, actually a smoke going towards long A. That gives him a little bit more control in the situation, and what a shot that was. Takes down RPK, just Smiths towards that stables area now. A lot to do.
And all they have to do is play this together. It's an AWP. One shot might land, but he has to recock the gun, and as soon as he does, 19 HP, easy to follow up with these AKs. But they also need to make haste. Oh, he's easily found. Cole just walks around behind him. And another round for SK. Now, finally, the money is gone on this G2 side. It'll be 2 rounds against them, plus bomb plant, so they can level it out with a force buy onto, you know, the pistols, the Tech 9s, but they can't afford to go all into this.
Well, we saw that was the exact same strategy we saw in the first gun run there from G2. Show that heavy hand towards B, take away a lot of the vision with the smoke grenades, leave Shocks in a position where he can come in for the lug, but SK, they're reading it perfectly this time. It works once, it's not going to work again. Fallen staying strong towards that A bomb site. That's actually the perfect scenario at that point. He can just get 1 or 2 frags, slow them down, get them a little bit cagey. As it'll be 5-3 here. Double AWP setup still ringing true for SK, and it's going to be, Eco, like you said, G2. It's going to be the partial buy here. Tech 9s, P250s, a couple of smoked. I assume this means they go towards A, smoke off the balcony, smoke off connector, flashes over, and hopefully try and swarm Fallen, who hopefully will be there. And there he is. Misses the first shot. This is a dream scenario so far.
Fallen knows they've got up middle. Okay. Good shot through smoke, though. Finds Smiths. Slows down the first attacker, but it's body to take fur. That's an M4 down on top of balcony, and Shox gets fallen trying to retreat. This is suddenly getting interesting because they're getting very, very aggressive, G2, and Scream, he finds Taco. FNX commits through the vent, does catch him off, but still it's a man advantage. Bomb down again for G2. Kits are on both of the remaining SK players, but Body's going to try and wait this out in behind the APC, and Shox with the AWP, well, doesn't even really need to get inside of the fight, just wait it out late. And the amount of smoke still deployed on this A site is a problem, but Cold spots Body's shoulder, opens it up. I'm not quite sure that he did spot Shox getting into the corner on the barrel, as he did jump across the wall, but he's got an inkling he's in this position. Good read by Shox, though, waits and holds the angle. It's all on FNX, finds RPK with the headshot, finds him instead.
Very nice call there from G2. We knew it was a partial buy, but you could see when they were very assertive of what they were doing. Like I said, they needed Fallen to miss that first shot. That happened, and they kind of stifled him towards long A. He hits one shot through the flashbang as well. Very nice stuff, but they locked him down. And as soon as they get their smokes down, the retake's so difficult with that. So the problem with the double orb setup on Cbble. I'm not a fan of it myself. I've always said I think it's the weakest map to run a double orb setup on. Even when you have Gold Zero and Fallen, I think with the retake coming in, you've got some of the tightest choke points to come out there. The mid door, the connector, and both sides of the map towards A and B. It's very difficult to retake bomb sites with those weapons, so it's going to damage them in that round. It's going to be 5-4. G2 bounce back with the partial buy, and it's going to be SK Gaming now with similar sort of vibe, but no armor for them. Desert Eagles and a P250. Cold Zero has got the kit though, so he's got a feeling he can do something with this.
Again, they'll run this same play. So there's the Molotov, flush out the bales. AWP waits to hold the secondary peak, and then Scream goes around the corner. We saw them do that on the first gun to great success. No one there this time to be on the receiving end of it. It's Deagles up for SK. P250 in the case of Fur, one kit on Cold.
What's interesting as well, normally when you just have the Desert Eagles, you go for an all-in sort of play. Maybe you go 4 players towards long A or towards that stack towards middle. You see VP doing that snake formation. It's actually quite a standard setup from SK at the moment. Just 2 towards the upper platform, 1 in connector, 2 towards A. Nothing too special. They're just kind of relying they can hit those 1 digs, but G2 know they've broken the money of SK, but there's such deadly players on the other side. You need to be very careful, treat it like a gun round, smoke off everything, just gain map control, get that real estate in your favor, and then operate together on towards the bomb site.
Okay, well, what's going to be eventually the first Molotov. Remember, a second one can be used on stairs, but they've already spotted Cold. Taco, he's got to fight the flames. He'll burn alive, but gets a shot to start things off, and Cold overcommits at the end of it. No escape plan, and RPK, well, 3 kills for him in the end as they walk into the site, and G2 brings this right back to 5. Henry, as a player, you've been in situations where it's back and forth like this. How do you really start? Obviously, money's one thing, but when it's this close, how do you really start to chip away at the other team?
It's very difficult at this point, especially the CTs. You're just clutching at straws every single round, right? When you're on the CT side of Cbble, if you're not winning consecutive rounds in a row, like it's a very back and forth affair, you actually favor this towards the terrorists right now. Even if they lose one round, they normally have enough to rebuy into this one. At this point, I'd say SK, if they do lose this round, this will be the one breaking them. So they need to be very careful going forward. Maybe take a pause at that point, discuss what's going on. The double orb setup hasn't been working out for them, but they have had some good reads, and they are cottoning on to what G2 are doing. We'll see how this round goes. There's another difficult buy for them, the UMP and the FAMAS. That's exactly what I'm talking about here. It can be such a difficult game to actually get back into on Cbble. It's so reliant on the utility. You're having the incendiaries, the smoke grenades to hold them off for a limited amount of time, but G2 now, they're on the double orb setup. It's a change of pace for them. The T side is actually a little bit more beneficial. Obviously, you have 2 turrets towards each side of the map, 1 towards long A, 1 towards the upper B platform, and then you can do some serious work with those weapons. And this will be a much slower pace round. They know SK Gaming is struggling a little bit, so potentially will be over-facing, trying to make that first frag come in their favor.
And keep in mind, too, with the economy the way it is, that's why you can justify these aggressive buys in the thought that if we win it, it's us that suddenly has the advantage, but the money left over, the residual cash, 0 on 4 out of 5 players on the SK side. So like you say, this very much breaks them.
They only get $2,400 next round, so this is a big round for SK once again. They've managed to win them before. Fallen with the AWP. This time he's actually towards the bomb site himself. It's a much more defensive play instead of him going for that first pick. That's normally the methodology when you're struggling with the cash. You want your big players to actually find you those first kills and bring the man advantage in your favor. More of a defensive setup. Time ticking away now, so this will be G2's final move. Body with that positional control towards the upper platform. They still have 3 smokes, flashbangs, and Molotov as well, so this should be fine. CTs are going to struggle here. They've only got flashbangs to hold them off.
Taco and Cold, passive setup. FNX as well, passive at the window of drop, not even facing it, but it's all 5 players out from G2 at long B, down the alley. Taco spots it, but goes back in and Body. Headshot landed. FNX does buy Cold some space, but he still knows there's one more in that position until FNX, he follows it up with a double. Cold can't duck his head fast enough, and Scream takes it off. That's what's going to allow the bomb plant in this, but look at the HP as Scream gets tagged. There's still a chance. Oh, that nade! He's in the open, but it won't go far enough. Yes, it will. FNX takes Scream, a 3rd kill, but the problem is they go down to just further the process. He finds Smiths, 1 versus 1, and the head shown they know where each other are. Shock's trying to utilize this new stairwell position, and Fur's desperate to try and land shots, but he gets just obliterated by the AWP.
SK Gaming did everything they could there. FNX stepping up. He gets 3 kills. They bring it down to the 1 versus 1, but Shox in this kind of form, you have to wake up pretty early in the morning to beat him, and it didn't work out. He was actually over-facing, my opinion, that Shox, just ducking and weaving between the upper and lower positions of that new steps area, but he comes out on top, hits the headshot, and that's all it requires, and like we said, that breaks the economy of SK here. It was quite a tight round for G2. It wasn't as comfortable as you would have liked, considering the setup there. It comes down to 5 seconds there. They're having to sacrifice a player with the bomb plant. Grenades coming in, they're very low HP players, but it's a big round for them to win. We'll see what SK Gaming decide to do here. It's not so much a partial buy here, just balancing things up with PT-50s and Desert Eagles. No grenades purchased, and you can see G2 reading this very well. They've got 2 MAC-10s. This means you have 2 reconnaissance players, and believe it or not, that's actually amazing on Cbble. Drop down area especially, like we've just seen, Shox making light work of coldzera there. Comes down against unarmored opponents, that has completely chews them apart, and they will be taking the man advantage here. There's no need to actually do anything with this though. Shox in this hold his position, even if he gives this gun away, it's not a massive deal. If he comes into a stack, for example, that's not a problem. Giving the MAC-10 away, like he potentially will now, he actually gets away with it. That's not huge. Against armor players, it doesn't do too much.
And it gets him so much money to those 2 single kills. $1,200 made, Body and Scream following up immediately after, and Body a chance to close out the round, they'll do so. So G2 take a 2-round advantage. It's the longest string of rounds we've seen since the opening when it was 3-0 and then 3-3. It's 4 in a row now for G2, which does build up the lost round bonus to a position that an AWP can comfortably, well, I shouldn't say comfortably, it's going to be Glass Cannon for Fallen.
Yeah.
They actually could have dropped that over and done that more efficiently.
So Glass Cannon Fallen, they don't have a single incendiary. They do have a couple of kits here, but it's still a difficult round for them. The incendiaries can be so beneficial, especially looking for those first picks as well. You can, if you want to face towards the upper platform, you know there's tight corners, you can hide in as a terrorist there. You don't have any sort of utility to actually make them face, so it is detrimental in that sense. We'll see what Fallen decides to do. Hasn't really been going absolutely nuts. This game is on 6 for 7, had a couple of big rounds where you've been finding those picks when they make their way towards the A side, but this time it's more aggressive. He wants to get that first kill, nails it as well. That's what he needs to be doing. Need that killer instinct, especially when you're struggling with the economy like this.
Fur pinched up close to the bottom mid door as Scream waits at long. Pre-fire out to make sure no one is there. Fallen was trying to spot above Fur to get him the information to bait them in with that AWP, but that smoke coming out. Fallen doesn't have full vision anymore of that doorway. They're going to commit to the positioning nonetheless, but it's the bomb and G2, a man down, over toward B instead, and finally we're going to see some drop potential from them because RPK late toward long. The first thing they'll do, clear the crossfire angles and then drop through. Opening is available, but Cold is waiting for them at the arch side. Let's see if that pays off or not, because right now there's still a chance they could wrap back with Scream probing in on the mid side of A.
Well, this is the first time in a long time that SK have actually had the man advantage as well. You can see how this has affected G2's play. Shox finds some control towards that drop-down area, but FNX not giving anything away. He wants to cover the A split potential at this point, but there are 4 G2 going towards upper platform, and Shox, he somehow finds it, takes down Taco. That's from drop-down. Now coldzera up against it.
Cold was the one watching that position. He gave it up. He went more passive, and it left his teammate open. He needs to make up for it, but he's down to the 19 HP. First kill successful. Double AWP brought back over. Fallen's going to take down RPK, but Shox has his still in the sight. He's holding the close angle. Bomb needs to cross from Scream. Smoke will allow it, but Fur is on the flank. And his timing, this bomb is only just going to go down when Scream tries to retreat. Fur's going to be there, but he misses the shot somehow. Scream nails him. This gives him a possibility. Shox falls, Fallen finds it, but they know exactly where Scream is, and smartly he jumps back down. They're going to think he's retreated to play the time.
Yeah.
And he has a massive chance to walk around them. Fallen's looking for it. They're both considering the possibility, but there's no information to read this on, so they have to tap and bait. And Cold's so low on HP. They line up. Scream's got both.
That's godlike from Scream. That awareness, knowing that they saw him go towards the platform, that's a very strong position traditionally in that sort of situation. So it seemed, okay, he's definitely going to be up there. He times it to perfection. He jumps down, and he actually completely outplays him there. That's really, really nice stuff from Scream. We talk about his form right now, but that's the kind of play we normally see from the likes of Crims. Someone who's a really intellectual player, someone that thinks with their mind, and Scream just completely outgames him there. Very impressive stuff, and that's such another huge round for G2 to win. Now look at the money. A Scout, 3 UMPs, a Desert Eagle. There's 2 rounds remaining as well. They could have taken an eco here, but they've decided to go all in. This could be a very pivotal stage of the game. G2 have won the half now. It's 8-5. And they're looking very good right now. Their key players are showing up.
And you nailed it, the back and forth games. SK getting broken. That's what started the swing thing. So the champions of ECS against the team they beat in the final, the world #1, the defending major champions. They've got a 3-round lead over them. And SK, this group, I would never in a million years want to go to a lower bracket ever.
Yeah, and it doesn't get any easier from this point.
Taco's going to start it off, though. Does get body with the Deagles, so again, they have the man advantage. The UMPs to work with the armor penetration, the best possible armor penetration of an SMG, and the boost up. Shox has now spotted this. Smartly, they won't overcommit to it, and they get the early information, fall back immediately. Fallen, great shot over on the A side from the front of the APC, over the hood of the car, in toward long A, hits the headshot on Smiths. He's got the information on RPK, he's gonna find that as well, but look at Fur. He's getting baited in this whole time, is Fallen. He's done all the damage, he's gotten all the aggro, and Fur's gonna close this in. It's Scream 1 versus 5. AK-47, but an excellent round from SK.
Yeah, I have to say, a little bit sloppier from G2 there. They got a bit ahead of themselves, if I'm honest. That was 3 UMPs, a scout, and I think a pistol, and they're not dropping a single frag there. That's pretty unfortunate for G2. They were over-facing angles by themselves instead of that coordinated team play we've been seeing and flashing certain angles and getting the real estate in your favor. They're all facing one by one there. I think they thought that round was a given for them, and that kind of shows that they can sometimes let their concentration slip at times, and that was a bit of a problem. That was a big round for them, like I said. That could have been really important going forward. We hit round number 15, and they're the ones struggling this time. It's going to be 3 AKs, 2 Tech 9s, and SK Gaming, with that flawless round, they do manage to get AK-47s and a double orb, though. That's the problem for me, like I said it before, and the CT side especially. I'm not a big fan, and that grenade, I'm not a fan of that either.
Don't even understand. Not even remotely close to where he was throwing it.
Well, I'm sure it's fine. Shox will just dust himself off and get on with it. He's only got a Tech 9, so...
In the words of TLC,
yeah, well,
first you don't succeed. Just pick yourself up and try again.
I was hoping you could get some girl band references in there.
Yeah, I absolutely would. But Cole, he's got, okay, well, flashed out, almost finds a 30, just can't land it. But the first 2 shots are excellent. It's going to slow them considerably on this entrance to the A site, or rather, excuse me, the B site. But Smiths does have bomb down behind the statue, early cross, no one on the rotation, able to cut him off in doing so. And they have to sit just a moment and get the position squared up, make sure the timing is on for this retake, as it's Fur, Fallen, and Taco against Scream and Smiths. And Smiths on an AK, as with his teammate, are both playing common positions. Scream gonna try and take advantage of that stairwell. It does give him the headshot. He can control the peak, and he nails it. But Fallen gets the shot back on Smiths. They now know where Scream is. And he tries to go for a quick tap on the first peak, but he's baiting them back in. Eventually will get found, and Taco hitting the shot. This is gonna bring it back so reasonable considering it went to 8-5. Money wasn't great. That anti-eco poorly played by G2, and it goes 8-7.
Very important moment there. The last 2 rounds going in favor of SK when they looked like they were completely out of it, but 8-7, that's not a bad result at all. We do traditionally consider this a terrorist-sided map, so this scoreline does kind of make sense. It was SK Gaming picking up the pistol as well, so that suddenly helped them out. They went 3-0 up here. But yeah, that kind of works for both teams, I think. It's going to come down to this pistol. It'll be huge, the best of ones. Although it's a very cliche thing to say, if you win both pistols in these kind of games, that can be what influences the entire result. These teams are very equally matched right now. We saw at ECS Finals and Pro League as well. It's been back and forth as to who's the champions of each respective event, but...
Well, we'll take a moment at halftime, get ready for the second, and it's going to be close as the first. Deadly Group D. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the first game of Group D, SK versus G2, number 1 and number 2 respectively in the world. Last week, it was number 2 that beat number 1. This time, it's them with the lead again. 8-7, though. It's just a fraction of a lead. And we do hit the second half of a very even map as well.
Yeah, we've had some really exciting moments here, some force buy wins, some massive clutches, and I think this one's going to get better and better. What a matchup to kick things off in Group D. And those last 2 rounds, especially for Esse, you have to say, that's going to show you what kind of world-class team they are. They had the balls to actually go for that force buy on round number 14. They could have ecoed that one, but they actually go with the UMP, the scouts, and just come in with a flawless round as well. That's what makes champions in these big tournaments. And we go into the second half now. Will be SK Gaming switching over to the T side. We'll see what they bring to the table here. Not only known for their more methodical style on the pistol, but there's obviously many options on Cbble just to go for the straight-up rushes and swarm the CT. It's going to be 1 smoke purchase, 4 sets of armor, and we'll have a look at G2. Normally go for that 5 set of armor themselves. We've actually got Scream, though. He's got the flashbangs and the diffuse kit as well. A little bit of a safety net.
So we start things off again. As for contributions, well, there's the usual suspects surely stepping up in big moments, but frag distribution's been even on both sides. To start this pistol round off, it's just Scream on a kit. He's playing the utility role on the CT side. Meanwhile, it's Fallen doing the same for the terrorists as they've gone for 4 armor aside from that. And the early aggression pays off again for Cold Zero. Remember, it was SK that won the first pistol. Cold this time, not Fur to start it with 2, but Scream's pulled it back. Taco's up close, burst fire, not common, we see it. Does pay off and take down RPK, and Scream's able to fade away back to the smoke to try and go for the retake. Again, he's the one with the kit, so he needs to die in a reasonably close place to his teammate. But he's gone down at the top of the ramp, Fallen. His teammate's there, body is already faced, he's got the information. And he tries to fight it off with the P2000 with a pop flash in. It's Taco that just pursues to push. He won't give him the space.
Fast A split comes from SK Gaming. Like we said, there's many options on this map available, but that's certainly one of them. You send 2 players in towards drop down, add towards that window. If you get that control uncontested, you're in such a strong position at that point. His teammates come out towards middle, and you could see how G2 was struggling at that one. It was Shox who was left towards long A by himself. He rotates, can't find a single frag, and it's going to be them coming out on top. Fallen, though, that was such a nice play from him. He was actually holding towards long A, but he fought his teammates. They're actually really nice and defensive right now. They've spotted the Scream's gone out towards middle. I'll rotate rounds through his mid. That's the round guaranteed at that point. Scream, a little bit of an all-in moment for him. Comes out connector, doesn't check towards middle. Hopes for the best. Does work out initially, but does get punished after all. Force buy comes in for G2 now. CZ's 5-7s. Just Smiths, of course, is the AWPer, but look how fast his round is, and Body gets the first kill, in fact.
Fur went completely Hail Mary all by his lonesome, down drop without even waiting for lurk potential and get caught by 3. But it did give him the information that at least 2. He saw 2 when he fell down. Were there at drop, so they rushed the A side immediately after. They compensate for the difference. They take down Body and Shox. Bomb planted as well. And they're all reasonably well off in terms of HP. In fact, Fallen's only lost 5. That's the only damage. And it looks like they'll just look for exits because Scream's already gone up to the Cinderella Tower. Rapunzel, I think.
Rapunzel.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
I didn't have parents that read me nursery rhymes before bed.
Oh, that's all right. I'll read you stories we like.
You can.
We've been pretty tame with our jokes. The last couple of
Are you suggesting that we
No, I think it's good.
Again?
I think we're maturing into real adults now. I think people we're starting to respect the craft instead of making a mockery of it, perhaps.
I wouldn't say we were doing that, Henry.
There are some
Perhaps
points I
just
think
making a
people would say
mockery
that.
of life in general. But they are going to try and save. They have the UMP brought up on RPK. He's got head armor. They've got a Molotov going over in his hands as well. And Scream obviously has armor as well. So they'll hold on. Deagle in his hand. They can't really buy much. They can't justify to buy much in the second round, or the third round, excuse me, the second of the 2 after losing the pistol on this CT side. So keep what you can. Try and do some exit damage if possible. And they'll have to just basically concede the fact that SK has a tremendous advantage again on this round before they go into the first gun. So it could go to 10-8 before G2 gets a chance to respond.
Yeah, both pistols we said, and 3 zeros for that matter as well. So that's 6 rounds off the bat for SK in their favor. They don't have a huge lead, of course, but it's going to be 9-8, and you'd assume it will be 10-8 here because RPK just at that UMP. He's got head armor as well, but we'll see what he decides to do when he positions himself. I think he's towards the B bomb side of the broken wall position. He's actually there alone for now. He has got backup. It's going to be coming in from Body, but he's playing towards that connector area. They are focusing towards drop down right now. You see 3 players looking towards window. That's completely shut down as First smokes it out, so they'll have to reposition themselves this time. Nice default from SK at this point. Like we said, you want to treat these rounds like gun rounds, just regardless. If you lose one of these, it's so detrimental to morale and money. So many things can go wrong if you drop these sort of procedures.
Well, the 3 UMPs, Fallen, Mac 10, trying to build up money to get toward that AWP early, potentially. Need to find these opening picks. FNX does so, finds Shox, wrapping around the corner. Remember, there is still one more at stable. We saw it through the X-ray positioning, and RPK's gone low. Fur's just going to be a nuisance in this position, but Smiths did find FNX, thankfully cold. 2 to the response, and tap away if he can. Oh, okay, well, use whatever he can. Nade as well, just do the damage on the Smiths. I don't think he's going to be the one to get the kill. It's Taco instead with the AK-47, but 4 stay alive. Fallen not able to get a kill in that round to build up the bank, but he's already got an AWP in hand. And he's actually, okay, so it's going to be cold again. He's going to go for the AK, so they are running cold on this map as the AWP.
Yeah, like I said, we saw this a lot of ECS. It's kind of strange. We talk about Fallen being the world's best AWP player, and that partnership they have with the duo AWP it's fine, it's very valuable, but we never say coldzera is the best AWPer in the team, but that seems like the kind of mentality they're going with going forward. But it will be 10-8. CTs after that second round force buy are feeling the burn a little bit here. No kits, lacking utility. You can see there's only going to be 3 smokes remaining after the initial exchange, and Smiths has got the AWP, but not really much else to go with it.
FNX, bottom of the stairwell. Does have Shocks already probing for information early at the bottom of mid, but thankfully a smoke deployed by the terrorist side early. I mean, Shocks can't afford to push through blindly and get caught off by anyone in courtyard. So as he falls back, this actually has a bit of an impact on the round, because if he could push all the way through and pincer them in toward the tunnels, there's no options for SK, but just that single smoke, he goes back to A. The options there if it's needed, and FNX will anchor that as the rest of SK try to find the picks onto the B site. Double smoke out, allows Taco to clear out toward the stairwell, flash over as well, and he can actually look, toward tree, scream, shoulder not showing. He has the angle covered, but he's looked, there, gun barrel, definitely saw it that time, and gets the headshot. Well played from Taco, good patience and good use of utility to put him in that position to find the pick.
At this point, they know the CTs after that second round force buy are going to be struggling. They don't need to do too much here. This is almost a bonus round as well. You can see First got the UMP in hand. They're trying to build bankroll here. Don't give anything away. Wait for that CT reaction to come in. It's a very difficult map to do that on Cbble, but it's going to come in regardless. This body trying to get that frag back. He actually lands it on Taco as well. So 4 and 4. That's exactly what they needed. And what's the response here from SK?
Shot from Shock. Smiths to follow it. Good crossfire in the site. 2-man advantage. It's coldzera again on AWP on this map. Not going to find anything as Smiths is just on fire this round. Picks up 3 kills late, and it does come back to just 1. Now, same situation. It was SK to win the pistol in the first half. First gun got away from them, and then they lost 2 after to bring it back dead even. G2 has a chance to try and do the same here as the money. Yes, okay, they've got 1 more in hand, but it's not great on the SK side.
Keeping so many players alive, that's what helped them out here. Had they gone down to like a 2 versus 1, that would have been a huge problem. They managed to keep 4 players alive, so Body did what he had to. I said there had to be some sort of response, and we can see he gets that first kill. That opens up the floodgates here. We go into round number 20. This is huge with the CTs now. Smith, so he has got the AWP, but they have also got the incendiary grenades. They've got the smoke grenades and some kits, so it definitely boosted their percentage chance of winning the round compared to last. But it's a very heavy B-sided attack coming in from SK. Look at all the fire on the upper platform, just holding them off for now.
Yeah. No rite of passage. Flash as well, Taco. They're not going to peek on that. Good leg up from Smiths. Couldn't land the shot completely, though, and Scream. He knows he's there, but he's in the open. FNX to take him down. There's low HP on 2. Finally, Smiths hits a shot. Oh, and a no-scope on Taco. He's absolutely come to life behind this statue. As, again, they have the man advantage, and SK has no ground at all in B. Thankfully, Fur comes in late toward drop. That'll open up something. As Smiths gets a little more vulnerable, but there's smokes behind him that's still going to give cover as Fallen takes RPK. That's traded. Bomb in the open, and Smiths 2 for 2. He gets 3, make it 4 now. 7 kills in the last 2 rounds for the CT AWP.
Yeah, say what you like about Smiths, but he's performing on this map, certainly on the second half as well. Another 4 kills for him, and he's just holding strong there. That was a really weird execution from SK Gaming there. They went for the surprise factor. 1 flashbang over, didn't use the smokes whatsoever, just tried to bundle them way out towards that upper platform. And for me, that's never really going to work out for you, especially when you know the orb's there. You're just hoping he misses that first shot, but Smiths hits absolutely everything. And that brings things into 10-10, and it's broken the economy of SK as well. So Tech 9, CZs, no armor. 1 smoke in the hands of Fallen. He's also got a flashbang, but that means it's normally smoking towards connector, trying to force you out towards middle. Maybe an A split, considering that FNX is towards drop down as well, but Shocked. This is perfect for him. MP9, unarmored players should just chew them apart here, and they know it as well. They're not even going to go through that second place.
Shocks. He's been anchoring this A side alone, playing it aggressively to get the information, but he's done exactly that in RPK. Lovely M4A1 S in hand is going to try and come around behind them, but this is a problem because Cold takes down Scream. That was their pincer move, just to try and limit it, and a reverse boost coming over. RPK's got no idea. They're actually right above, although Taco's not up on the wall directly. He's just holding the angle. It's a good angle to hold, though, as the 1M4 picked up on the way through, does find a kill, pulls them back to a man advantage, but that's canceled out. And they still haven't found RPK, which could be a problem in this because he has the bomb, and he can just wait and hold this for Body, who doesn't need to peek. He can just play off the information. And coldzera's going hunting as well. That lovely MAC-10 one-handed animation. Or rather, excuse me, the MP9. It's rather misleading, but
It comes down to RPK at this point. He's got such a strong position. His teammate Body from the connector as well, just trying to bait him in a little bit. RPK has got control of the bomb. This throws a spanner in the works. Fallen coming from danger as well. Now he's got 2 positions to watch.
RPK should have heard this, and he actually suggested it. He's gone right down into the corner to cover this angle off instead.
Even if he knows, it's the timing from middle at the same time, but Fallen's not going to be checking it. Good positioning from him, good adaptation. Like he said, he had the footsteps, 25 seconds remaining, and an MP9. I don't see it happening, but that suddenly helps Body. What are you playing at? You know where the bomb is. There's no need to be in the open.
And RPK's given up a lot of room here. He's actually going to give up the plant rather than playing this. It was an M4 versus an MP9. It's not like the distance game favored coldzera. 10 seconds, he'll easily get toward the site. Knows he's out toward mid, so goes for the safest possible plant. But the range game's still a factor in this. And Cold, he's electing, perhaps assuming that RPK is closer to stay on this site. He doesn't have a chance to try and escape, to try and catch him off, but he does spot him coming up the ramp, knows he's over to the right. Flash didn't spot the trajectory of it, but again, still with that information, jumps up and RPK still gets the angle, gets the shot. And 3 kills for him saves the round for G2.
Yeah, questionable decision there from Body. You always want to make sure in these 2v1 situations, especially at such a pivotal point in the game. It's 10-10, you're up against an eco, you don't want to throw this one away. You're up against an MP9 player and you're facing him by yourself out in the open from the connector. You've got nowhere to fall back to if he finds you. It's a very strange decision, but RPK, like we said, a wise old head. And it's going to be G2 taking the round just about, I have to say, but that certainly affects their profits going forward. They're going to be fully reinvesting to try, and they're going for the double AWP setup themselves this time, which we said before, something I'm not necessarily a fan of. A lot of teams do run it these days. Esse Gaming, their money is absolutely fine after taking it down to the 1v1 and getting the bomb planted as well. So 11-10, 3 rounds in a row for G2, bouncing back after losing both pistols. Number 22 comes in. We'll see what the approach is this time. coldzera once more on the AWP.
Shocks, aggressive, flash in, can't go for the fast fountain peak. coldzera at the AWP on the opposite side, playing it B, waits, and Smith jumps directly into him, gifted the kill. So an opening for SK. Molotov off toward Archer's stairwell. It's kind of in between, to be fair, so Scream could play still in this position and won't be cleared. He actually recovers the AWP, perhaps just trying to hold that out of play. He's going to bring that down, so it's at least at his feet. He can at least cover it off as he uses the M4 instead in case they got close. Doesn't have a support system really in play because RPK and Body are both doubling up on drop right now, so Scream's effectively alone inside of B, at least at that corridor.
Well, at this point, once again, Terrorists have the advantage, waiting for the reaction to come in the CTC. Scream was flirting the idea of the AWP. He actually does manage to pick it back up once again, facing towards that upper platform. With Fur chimes in, takes down Body. It's now a 5-on-3. And it's when he just executes towards the B side. Hope Scream doesn't completely mow them down. He's in a decent position to do so. As the Molotov comes in as well, this frag to be huge. If he can get Taco here, there's a chance.
RPK likes to go away from drop. It's the right call because they need the help out at long. It's low HP on 2 as he tags up 1, but Taco, he's got the kill on his Scream before RPK can put him down, and FNX getting the trade. It's now 4 versus 2 with the HP. 2 for Fur, 8 for Cold. Excuse me, it's 4 versus 1. Shocks is the last alive. But it is an AWP he's going to be desperate to hold on to, and this looks like it's going to go 11-11. Fallen gets caught. And at 11-11, Henry, what do we do?
We watch CS and marvel at the spectacle. These two top teams.
Never give that one to me, will you?
No, never.
You make a wish.
You make a wish.
But yes, we can do what you said as well.
Well, then that was down to Smith. He's obviously in the zone right now. He has the AWP in his hand. He wants to mix things up, and I don't mind that at all. He went for that aggressive face, and you have to admire the AWPers that have the confidence to do that against the likes of coldzera and Fallen. He gets taken down, but it's the right approach, I think. Mixing things up and trying to go for the first pick is definitely a viable option there. Doesn't work out from this time. Gives him the first pick, and at that point, it just fell apart for G2 at that stage, but this has been a very back and forth affair. Shocks saves the AWP. That's important. The money's not fantastic here, but I've discussed this many times before, Matt, especially on a map like Cobble, which is not so open as other maps. You can actually use that AWP at the start of the round, go towards the middle, get the first pick, go towards long A, upper platform. There's many different options here, and a player, not necessarily like Smiths, but someone like Guardian or someone like that who can go for those first picks and just open up the round and change his position every single time. They're so scary to play against. Shocks knows that, and we'll see what he decides to bring to the table here. I think he's going towards middle. Yeah, he is. So he does that smoke at the start, and we can just go to his screen. He smokes over the middle. He can look over and look at that first pick. That's exactly what he wants here, but Fallen's too smart for that, I'm afraid.
He is quite smart, isn't he?
He is.
Does seem like an intelligent gentleman. He's definitely proved his worth with that regard in CS. So one-man advantage, double up, set up T side right now. With Deagles, a P250 for RPK. And off left on Smiths. It's the B site right now. That's the intended target, as Fallen is waiting to anchor out this long position. Watch it, though, because Body and Scream are coming through, as is RPK at long. If they elect to push through, if they find Fallen in this position, it's an AWP in a vulnerable spot that could be saved and carried over. Thankfully, Fallen has given up on that, as they do have the B site. He's well aware of the fact that they, not in B, are very likely hunting at A or trying to save somewhere over in that position.
At this point, it's just the operation is to save the AWP, take it to the next round. The money still isn't going to be fantastic. They get, what, $1,900 next round, so this is a double eco situation. But once again, they get a second bite of the cherry with that AWP, so they can save that. Smith's control, well, it was Shox this time they tried against Fallen, but Smith's, he's picked it up. Maybe he'll say, well, find his keepers, I'll be taking this next round. And it's going to be the double orb setup for SK working this time. Obviously not really much to play against. Only one kill was required to win this round. Take that towards A, then move back towards B, plant the bomb. No one there. Round over. We'll see Smiths now holding onto this weapon. A little, if you look on the mini-map right now, there's lots of players surrounding him, making sure that no one can get to him.
So one of the rare rounds where 9 out of the 10 players stay alive, and it's conceded by G2 to SK, so it'll go 12-11. They bounce back on this. Money, well, not really a thing on the G2 side right now. So again, that save very important to keep that AWP just in play. They'll force up again pistols around it. They can afford to do that, as they will hit 3 rounds here against them. So
that's why actually keeping 9 players alive at that last round, keeping the upgraded pistols, not to expend more money into this one, means they have a stronger buy when they come into round number 25. So that's actually a really nice call from G2. It's difficult to swallow sometimes because it's actually like, okay, I've got this deal, I want to try and see if I can upgrade it, but it's actually very beneficial going into this round. We'll see what Smiths decides to do. As I speculated before, he had kept the weapon, has been very good towards his B site. Going for the first pick, as expected. Oh, okay, Body had a chance there. I think he spotted the player, didn't fire, didn't pull the trigger.
He had the crosshair placement accurate, actually extremely accurate as well, as I watched it from his perspective, but hesitant, timid perhaps, didn't want to give that away, but he knows Fallen is, or rather someone is, above at the drop position. Fallen's going to find RPK, and Body's attention is divided because he's considering the possibility that they will come in from the long approach at B. And that's exactly what Taco hopes to achieve. Takes down Scream, Body gets dropped by Fur, late come from drop. And it's just Shox left inside of the site. Headshot found, but not taken from Taco. It's Cold instead with the AWP. It's 3 rounds to go for SK. Guns up this round, though, for G2.
Yeah, considerable lead now for SK as well, 13-11. And we'll see what kind of buy they can get. Shox is struggling a little bit, so Smiths as well. They wanted to get an AWP. They're going to have to kind of spread the wealth around a little bit, Matthew. So maybe Body can drop the AWP, and they can see whether that's an option. You can see them still considering it. Smiths has got in glass cannon, though. Okay.
CT side glass cannon, I can understand the point. They're trying to hold an angle and play it, but this is so desperate for them.
It depends on the position you're playing. So you're playing like something like Chicken Coop, and you have a lot of wall bang potential as well. It makes you very vulnerable towards the back, especially with positions where Molotovs are dropped as well. It doesn't give you as much time to retreat. So we'll see what he can decide to do here. It's definitely a big play. He's been great when he's holding the bomb site like he is right now. Just staying behind that fountain area, going for the first picks. The aggressive stuff hasn't worked out too well for him, but let's see what he decides to do as we go into round number 25. Double AWP setup still for SK Gaming here. Very default round for them. You can see Cold Zero with that AWP towards top and middle. Waiting to see if anyone will face. There's actually 2 players waiting for him on the other side. It's going to be, I think it's Shoxy. Yeah, he's backed up as well.
So yeah, the double position out at long.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a flash drawn right now from Shox to try and get RPK back around that corner, but they're actually coming in through middle. And they've got no read on this right now. Shox is going to have to suddenly switch back with the M4. Play this from the perimeter. Does drop bomb. Now that's a dividend. That's a plus because it's round the corner, but it's a good refrag from Taco. What they don't know is that he didn't go for it. He didn't go for it immediately. What they don't know is RPK's there. They give him a chance again to drop the bomb down. And now they've bought so much time. Smart play from Taco. Body jumps in a bit carelessly. Again. Perhaps not anticipating that they're in this position, but Scream, he'll make up for it with 1 quick kill. It's 3 versus 2 in favor of G2.
Yeah, absolutely. Bomb still to be planted here. Cold Zero is in a difficult position, but somehow takes down Scream. Are the Flames going to touch him? I think he gets away with it. And now the round will start to slip away. Just going to be Smiths remaining now. He's towards the top and middle, but so much control gathered for SK Gaming. There it is, the final kill. And I have to say, Body's jumping out carelessly once again in those big situations. It's easy waiting for his teammates. Luckily, Scream got the refrag, but still, he could have waited that. They could have not dropped a single frag there. That could have been much cleaner. And you can see how much this means to them now. It's 14-11, Matt. 1 round away from match point here for SK, and the money is not great for G2. They've got $3,200 average across the board. They're not going to take a pause. They're just going to go, you know what? We know what we're doing here. Scouts, Pharmacists, Max 7s. It's not pretty, but it can work. SK already proved that.
Well, and you can hear the cheers after that round because it's so significant. They know the money situation, and that match point does loom. It's only 2 to go for SK, the Brazilians, formerly Luminosity, for those of you who haven't kept up with the news between majors. Playing in their first tournament under the new organization. Attention on to drop this time from Fur and Fallen. As they check all angles, they'll send Fallen in first. Fur just making sure they won't push through, having heard him drop down. It's Body that they'll confront first. But again, it's shotguns. And these shotguns in these angles and these positions can be so deadly. Body's got a chance here to potentially pick up 2 if they don't do this right. If they don't either use utility or get a perfect peek against him. Good flashbang, but he's into the corner. He'll have his vision back. They don't pursue on this. They're waiting right now. The intention is to control long as well so they can divide the attention and distract G2 inside of the site. So far hasn't worked. Smoke out behind. They've spot Body's shoulder. He can't land the first shot. Does get the second, but Fallen does execute correctly, and they take him down. It's up to Taco and Cole to try and find Scream, and Smith says that's the only 2 that remain as the last line of defense inside of the B site.
Yeah, this could be in now for G2. Need to have someone step up in this position. FNX, though, get some information as to where Scream is. 30 seconds remaining. They will be going towards the B side, surely, as Taco does find Smiths as well. 5-on-3, and he gets 2. That's a lovely shot towards Scream, wasn't it? Now it's RPK. It will be match point going in favor of the Brazilian side. RPK knows he needs to make something happen here. Is he going to try and pick up another weapon here? Probably try and exit with the AK, but it's out of reach for now.
And I would say out of reach for good, because already Fur is on that approach at that doorway. Fallen wrapping around that bottom middle. He won't allow him to escape from that mid connector. Although he is low on HP, only 9, so RPK could still win that duel.
Yeah, this is certainly worth the hunt though for SK. They've got a ton of cash here. They don't want to break the economy of LPK, of G2, sorry. Make sure they've got nothing going into that final round here. So they're willing to sacrifice some players. They are feeding him frags essentially. It looks a little bit sloppy right now, but that's what they wanted. Take him down, and it's going to mean G2 go into the final round. They are a maximum loss bonus, so they get $3,400 per player, but still, that is not enough for a full buy. That means you get scouts, Famuses, Mag 7s once again, and we'll see what they decide to do. You can see 1 M4 so far. That's in the hands of RPK. He's boosted, obviously, those last 3 kills. He gets $900 after that round, so that's actually helped him out, believe it or not. But Mag 7 in the hands of Scream, Body, Mag 7 as well. 1 round will do it for SK. 4 in a row required for G2 now. Up against the ropes. That's just to take it to overtime as well.
Smoke out on door early from Shox again, but not with the AWP this time. Can't go for the peak you spoke about, Henry, earlier on. He's limited to just the FAMAS as they've forced in Smiths on a scout, and Fallen and Fur once again going to approach the drop room, but this time Fallen holds for a counter boost, and then a smoke comes out. So they'll buy a little bit of space so far on this G2 side, but it's early in the round, and really, if you want to look at that from SK's perspective, well, they've actually just bled out a bit of utility from them.
Yeah, at this point, take it nice and slow for SK, run the defaults, see what's actually available to the CTs at this point, and use as much, expend as much utility as you possibly can. Smoke's coming in now. You can see Fur anticipating the boost coming in once again. That's enough to actually stop them doing it at this point, but there are 4 CTs towards the B side. Smiths with that scout as well. Obviously not as strong as an AWP, but if he can inflict some damage, that's enough to give him a chance in this one.
So 2 smokes now used at drop. Still waiting for that counter boost to come in, perhaps thinking G2 need to change things up. No timeouts called in this game.
Yeah, that's weird for me from G2 especially.
Well, G2 especially in this late and in the first half when it was back and forth. So neither team electing to use it. Fur does find one on entry. It's RPK to go down, but Body close up does this time land the shotgun. The Mag 7, as Shox is rotating all the way back out. This could be good, actually. Shox's position. They're going back through the tunnels on that kill alone, and Shox has all the information. He's got all the read on this, and he's going to let them go by. Trigger discipline, no. Shoots when he can. It gives his position away. He only lands 1. They'll go back on the hunt, but the rotations are coming over. FNX has elected to bypass that duel with Cold Zera, who does win it with the Tech 9, in hopes of getting to the site fast enough to plant the bomb, but Smiths is there, however. The scout goes for the jump shot, no land so far, 7 HP, drop down. This should pretty much do it. As Scream with just a Mag 7 has to rotate. He's going for the flank again, does land the shot with the USP, so 1 versus 2, but Cold will close it. And it's SK, the first tournament, the first game in the New Jerseys that will strike revenge against G2, who beat them a week ago. And send them to a date with the Grim Reaper. We don't know yet their opponent, but could be anyone that's still worthy.
Absolutely. Really nice performance, especially in the second half from SK. They win 6 rounds in a row on the T side. We speculated before, Matt, about the economy manageable in the CT half. You can see how much G2 was struggling there. Never really got rolling. They lost both pistols in this series, and I said that was going to be a huge factor here. But to be fair, it was still tied up about 10-10. They were doing very well in that first half, winning it as well. But they just couldn't hold on towards the end. Some questionable decisions in the clutches in some of the key rounds as well. Players over-facing and not waiting for their teammates to be with them. I think that's what cost them this game. Lots of clutches, a high-octane performance from both sides, and it was is worthy of this group so far, I think.
And G2 in their best form ever as this French lineup coming into a major, looking to break the curse and get out of groups, and they're faced with this one. And now it's either Fnatic or FaZe that they'll play. We'll take a break. We'll find out shortly. Not before a trip to the desk. We'll see you soon.